Hello my dear YouTuber friends, and I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to this new video, which are more tips to make your flying experience on the Xbox and PC as well more user friendly. Things like you can see my tail number there on my Cessna aircraft. I've got a unique and bespoke tail number. In the cockpit, you may notice that my views are slightly different. How to set default views, cockpit views, to the way that you would like them. And also in external mode, things like how to set the default Freelook speed when you're moving around the aircraft, and other tips like the much requested speed brake spoilers. So let's not hesitate, let's get on with the video. Okay, so the first tip I'm going to cover is how to join in multiplayer sessions. On the server, my server, I'll link it down below, Xbox users and PC users are all welcome there, by the way, to fly with us. If you go on there, sometimes we have multiplayer flights, or there's multiplayer flights happening. What you got to ensure first, go to your options. I'm using the Xbox here, for example. Make sure you got Game Pass if you're using Xbox at least. I've got Game Pass Ultimate. So I've not bought Flight Simulator on the Xbox yet. I bought Ultimate so I get Game Pass and I can play Flight Simulator at the same time. I'll probably buy Flight Simulator at some point. But ensure you got Game Pass if you're on the Xbox. PC users don't need to worry about that. Go to Options, General Options. And then go to Data. In Data, make sure online functionality is turned on. Make sure multiplayer is also on. You can do that from left to right using your right analog stick. Move it left or right in that box. It turns it on or off. I'll just apply that. I've not changed anything. You can have things like live weather on, photogrammetry, but those are the two important things. Online functionality and multiplayer. So go back. And there's another thing here at the top where your name is. So here's my username. Press your A button there. Sometimes they'll say, make sure that your status is online, by the way. Sometimes they'll say, we're flying from such and such a server on such and such a server. So this is, for example, I'm on North Europe here. I can select West Europe, which is just above me. East USA, Southeast Asia, West USA. So you've got all these various options. So whatever the multiplayer group has chosen for the server, that's how you would change it there. So again, let's come out of that. Go to your username here at the top, press A, or your name rather, your game tag. And then go to service and you can change that from there. Another thing to be aware of, go to world map. And in world map, in flight conditions, press your A button there in that box. Make sure in multiplayer, if you're not flying in a group, flying in a group it's where you've added each other as friends and it'll just be a group only. If you want to see everybody in that server, so in my case, what was it? North Europe. If you want to see everybody, let's go to flight conditions again. Make sure that you've got this selected, all players. And that should be okay. I'll close that. So if I go into a flight now, which I'll show you later, I'll see everybody within that server. While I'm here on the world map, let me set my destination airport, departure airport, which is obviously going to be London City, set as departure. I can go to my aircraft symbol here, the Cessna, and I can set my tail number, and this can be bespoke and unique to you. So I'll press A in that box. Obviously, I've got to go with something like Hudison, but I'll just do HUD1. I'm afraid it looks like you're going to have to do this every time, maybe. there's another way. If anybody knows another way where this saves, that would be useful. I've not looked into that yet. Press your button there, just enter it in, your tail number, and that will now appear on the tail of your aircraft, which is quite useful. We can close that. I'm going to click fly to set off from London City Airport. And okay then, as you can see, I'm on London City Airport, runway 27. As you can see from my tail number there, it's now bespoke, it's HUD 1, which is what I typed in before, so lovely, I've got my own unique tail number. Let's show you this tip now. We'll go into the cockpit. That's pause, I don't want to do that. I always get them mixed up. This is your default cockpit view, as you all know when you go into the Cessna. Say you don't like that, say you want it slightly over the nose of the aircraft. Well, a way to do this, this time I will go to the options, go to general options, and in general options, go to the camera tab. So press my A button there. And there's different ways of doing this. Now you can go on this cockpit camera selection. So this will be the camera that loads in when you load into your next flight. This will be your default camera. You got things like close, we don't want that. You got things like landing, so it's over the nose. So if I apply and save that, go back, and go back, resume. When I load into a flight now, oops, there you go. You can see I'm in multiplayer. By the way, what I'm going to do here is go to my general options just for this video, because you're going to have people messing around in multiplayer sometimes, and I don't want people, you know, you just never know what's going to happen. So I'm going to go to my data and turn multiplayer off for this flight. I'll have to remember to turn that on when I'm doing multiplayer flights. That's okay. So I'm back there. If you were to restart, so if I were to go to main menu, continue, and even if you were to restart the simulator, turn off your Xbox and restart the simulator, that cockpit view, oh, updates available, I'll have to check that later. That cockpit view, so let's go back to world map and go to London City Airport again, set as departure, and press fly. This won't take a minute. I'll do this in real time with you because we've just loaded into that airport, so it should load fairly rapidly, it seems to be. Anyway, that view, that cockpit view, will now be your default view in the cockpit. Famous last words about loading rapidly. It's a funny thing, Flight Simulator on Xbox and PC. Sometimes this can be loaded within a few seconds. Sometimes, for whatever reason, it stops and then takes a few moments longer, which is what's happening here. This is Murphy's Law. It would happen now, of course. Keep it going now. There we go. So there we go. Even if I was to turn off the Xbox, that would be my default view. I don't like that. I'm far too close to those instruments that I can hardly read them. So let's show you another tip. You like this view over the nose, but you want to see more of your instruments. Go to your pause, press your pause button, go to your options screen, go to general options, and we'll go to camera again. So go to camera, keeping it in that view, in that sort of over the nose of the aircraft. These three things here, adjusting your height or horizontal position and zoom, height and zoom in particular, would be useful now because I want to see more of my instruments. So I'm going to adjust my height. I'm going to highlight over the height tab, the height line. I'm going to use my right analog stick in this case, just to move that view down. You can see it behind this menu here, just. And I'm going to go down to zoom, use my right analog stick again, move it to the left, just to zoom out a bit so I can see more of those instruments. I'm almost there. Almost to where I want. Maybe height a bit more down. Let's try that. Apply and save. Go back. And resume. Now I can see my instruments quite clearly. I could even zoom out a little bit more there if I wanted to see more of them. But I could see them quite clearly. By the way, if you toggle between all your different views, you still have them. Cockpit view looks a bit different now because you've kind of zoomed out on this part, so it will zoom out on your default view. But that's the way you can do it. And if you want to, I wouldn't advise this. Go to General Options again, go to Camera. Your horizontal position, so your left and right position, basically, your position over the horizon. You can alter that as well, so you can put it more central, for example. I'll apply and save that, go back, go back. Every time I load into this specific aircraft, I'll get that specific view. Say, for example, you've messed around, you think, oh, I don't know how to get it back to the way it was. That's simple. Press your pause button, go to Options, go to General Options again, and up to down to Camera, press your A button there. See there is set to defaults, or press your X button. So I'll press my X button. Current camera settings will be lost and you reset default values. Yes, I want that. Continue. Apply and save, press Y. Go back, go back. There you go, I'm back to the default cockpit view. So that's how you would set up your cockpit view. Let's go on to the next tip. So this next tip will work inside and outside of the cockpit on the Xbox version and PC as well. You can see that's the default zoom, default sort of speed when you're free looking around your aircraft, and in the cockpit as well, that's your free look speed. But it's the external one I find too fast. Now typically I'll go up to the top here and go to Camera while I'm in external mode and change my free look speed here, turn it down so that it looks around slower and more smoothly. You can set this up so it's like a default free look speed in the external view and in cockpit as well. And this comes courtesy, this one, of Aces Down 1. I'll link his channel below. Good friend of mine, moderator on the Discord, and he's got an excellent YouTube channel as well. Go check him out. But I remember making a video and he said, yes, you can change this in the options menu as well. It's something I missed first time round. So let's press the pause button. Go to General Options. Go to Camera. Again. Use your right analog stick. Scroll right down to the bottom of the page here. And you will see external free look speed here. So you can change it here, and this will be default when you load into the aircraft. Now, the cockpit speed looking around is fine for me, but you do the same as for that as well. Cockpit speed, let's just see. Free look speed there while you're in the cockpit camera here, there. So you can change it there. But it's the external one I'm looking to change. So it was on 50%. I'm going to use my right analog stick while I'm highlighting that line, external free look speed, right at the bottom of this page. I'm going to bring it right down to about, that will do 16. Apply and save, go back, go external. Now when I'm looking around, it's a lot smoother and a lot slower. So if I'm trying to show something and it keeps going past in the default view, it's too fast. This speed is much better, and I can just pan around slowly. So there's another tip. Whilst I'm here, I'll show you the last tip, and then we'll jump over to the PC version and show you how to set up the speed brakes or spoilers. So your custom toolbars here. I've had this question before. X, Y, and Z has gone missing. How do I get it back, or how do I change this? Well, click on this last one here, custom toolbar. Press your A button. So basically, whilst I'm in external mode or cockpit, doesn't matter, I'm left clicking my left analog stick in on the gamepad, Xbox gamepad. PC users, just move your mouse up. Go to this custom toolbar here, and you can either remove or add a lot of these icons. For example, checklist, I use that. Basic controls, I don't use that. I'm going to move my cursor over that basic controls, use my right analog stick to turn that off. You can see that icon has now removed. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Fuel, I don't want that on, I don't use that, so I'm going to turn it off. Navlog, I'm going to turn that off. Just for example. Objectives, I definitely don't use that, I'm going to turn that off. travel to. I don't use that currently, so I'm going to turn that off. Weather, VFR map, I certainly do use. Flight assistant, sometimes. Checklist, yes, when I'm starting an aircraft, complex aircraft, checklist can come in handy. Camera, definitely. ATC, sometimes. So I can close that by clicking, mousing over to your custom toolbar icon up here. Press your A button, that closes that menu. So now you see I've got a much more select custom toolbar. If you want them back on, by the way, if you've lost something here, you want it back, go to your custom toolbar again, press A. Just scroll down and turn on the ones that you want on. Basic controls I don't want on. Say, for example, I did want fuel on. I don't, but I can turn that on by just using my right analog stick. For now, I'll keep it off. I like that custom toolbar the way it is, and I'll keep it that way. So there's some basic hints and tips. Certainly like that one. Freelook speed. If you restart your sim, that should now stay. If you want to reset to your cockpit view, you don't like that, you can even... Let's do that one again quickly. I just want to zoom out a little bit. And I might just do that and keep it this way, in fact. Because I do generally find it's too zoomed in. So I'm just going to zoom while in cockpit camera there. Use my right analog stick. Zoom. Just to zoom that cockpit out a bit. Apply and save. Go back. Go back. That's a little bit better for me, personally. And if I want to get to my over-the-nose aircraft, I just hold my left analog stick and right D-pad up. Oh, sorry, D-pad up. And down again to get to the default. So that's how you do that. Okay, let's jump onto the PC and show you how to set speed brakes or spoilers. Okay, so over on the PC, just for uniformity's sake, so you get an Xbox and PC tips, it all works. Vice versa. I've got the Typhoon on the PC version. I don't own it on the Xbox because I don't need to buy it again for a different version. So I've just got it on PC. And I can show you the speed brake. So I'm going to press my trigger button. That will extend the speed brake. There's a button next to the trigger button on my Hold Task 1 I'm actually using. That I use on my Xbox as well. And that takes the speed brake down. So extend... and retract. And the way I did this, let me just actually, I can do it from my controller. Press my pause button. You go to control options. And what we'll do, under assigned, you find your speed brakes on the secondary control services, I believe. Yes, that was lucky. So it's extend spoilers and retract spoilers. These two options here. And the way to do this, if you just go, if you want to find these, either go to all and collapse everything. Go to flight control services and secondary control services. So let's just show you that again. Go to filter, make sure it's on all. It should be on assigned to start with. Use one of the arrows here to go to all. If these menus are open, press that button there to collapse all the menus. Flight control services. In this case I'm on PC, I'm left clicking. If you got a mouse on your Xbox, left click or use your controller and press A. Secondary control services. I'm going to click into that menu. And here you will find a couple of options there. Retract spoilers. And a bit further down, extend spoilers. Or, if you go back to your assign there, I'll just collapse all the... Maybe an easy way, just go here, search by name, and just type in spoil. And under secondary control services, if you put it on the filter on all, oops, let's try that again, all, you'll just bring up the spoilers part of that menu, and then you can easily find extend, retract. So I've got my trigger to extend, just in this case as an example, and my button next to the trigger to retract. So go back, resume, and as you can see, that all works nicely. So let's try this I've not flown the Typhoon for a good while now. I'm just going to make sure I've got my controls set up the way I want them. So yeah, let's trim. And that's trim. That's fine. So let's resume getting to the cockpit. Let's go full blast there, full throttle. Make sure I've got my afterburners kicking. I do indeed. Right, let's get up before I break the landing gear. Raise my landing gear. Make sure it's retracting. Trim down. I'll extend my spoilers now. Press my trigger button. You can see the aircraft speed is slowing down quite a lot there. So I'll bring them back in. Bring the speed brake back in. Ideal for landing, or handy for landing. So there you go. As you can see, I'm going skyward there. Better watch it. As you can see, it all works fine. Retract them so I don't fall out the sky now. So there you go. Anyway, those are my settings and tips to make your life more easier and comfortable in Flight Simulator. Let me know your thoughts on the video. Give it a like if it's been helpful to you. Subscribe for more, many more of these types of Flight Simulator setup videos on the way. And I'll see you soon.